What's happening, everybody? My name is Bobby Borg, also known as Coach. I'm going to repeat that because sometimes when you go live, that gets cut off. What's happening, everybody? My name is Bobby Borg, also known as Coach. Welcome to Office Hours. And today what I'm going to talk about is live performing and touring. I'm going to discuss the levels of live performing and touring. I'm also going to do where and when to get gigs. We'll talk about how you're paid. We'll talk about how deals are negotiated. I'll talk about how what contract writers are and sort of how you negotiate them. And that will pretty much tie it up. I'll probably be about maybe 10 minutes or so. I apologize in advance for the wind. Kind of sitting out in a field, as you can tell. And unfortunately, there's going to be some wind that might cut off some of the things I say. Please leave an email or a message if you have any questions, okay? My email is at www.bobbyborg.com, and you can also just leave questions in the video. I'm going to have the video up where you can watch it later on as well. You don't have to be live, okay? So we are live. You're going to hear some car noises. You're going to hear a little bit of wind. I apologize for that. But let's get going with this, okay? Let's talk about live performing and touring. So first of all, let's talk about the levels of live performance and touring. We'll talk about level 1, which is called the development phase or the testing the waters phase. And the testing the waters phase is where you play locally frequently. You're not really concerned about where you're playing. You're playing literally everywhere. You're playing block parties. You're playing petting zoos. You're playing parties. You're playing house parties. You're playing spaces. You're playing, your friend's birthday party, your bar mitzvahs, barbecues, street fairs, whatever. The whole point of doing this is to get good at playing in front of people and to figure out what the hell it is you're doing, to figure out your style, to figure out your vibe, and to figure out what people respond to, okay? And you're doing it as much as you possibly can so you can get good at playing live. It's not the same as sitting in your bedroom, you guys. For you bedroom artists, it's not the same. So you got to get out there and play and sort of figure yourself out, okay? It's also a time when you learn the stage because shit happens when you play live. I mean, literally, your bass drum head is going to break, your snare hem will break, your cymbals will break, your sticks will break, your guitar strings will break, your basses will break, your bass strings will break, your keyboard won't play. You'll go up to the mic to sing and the mic won't work. So you got to figure out how to respond in these instances. You got to respond to hecklers and people that are going to be talking crap and things of that nature. So basically you have to be able to adapt to those kind of situations, okay? What's up, Swiss Productions in the house? What's happening? All right, so that's the level 1 phase. When you get good at that, oh shit, whoa. Look at that, Midwest Sunset Drive. All right, thank you for the love. I love that. And Mark, what's happening? Mark is in the house. Midwest Sunset Drive. Thank you for the super chat there. That's actually my first one, man. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to level 2. So the level 2 phase of live performing and touring is what I call the business-minded phase. Oh, we got a little wind, sorry. All right, we got a little wind. I don't want to make sure I don't get cut off. The level 2 is actually what's called the business-minded phase. That's the going in for the local kill. That's after you've been playing live a little bit. And that is when you kind of have figured it out. Like, in other words, you're like, okay, we're good now. We've been playing out for a while, but this is where you got to start pulling back and you got to be more serious. Like in other words, this is now where you have to play more sparingly. And you only have to play in select clubs maybe once a month or once every 6 weeks or so. But every single time you play, you got to blow it up, man. You got to blow it off the hook. You've got to do extra promotion. You've got to go up on stage and you got to maybe have a sound person. Sorry, a little bit of wind. You have to have a light person. You have to have stage costume designs. Maybe invite special instruments to come up and play with you. Instead of playing the keyboard patch, bring in a celloist or something of that nature. Have the after party. Have a bus or cars or vans to pick up people and bring them to the show. I mean, you are going in for the kill, right? So it's about quality, right? And it's about not quantity, it's about quality. right? And this is also when you take the time to invite people to your show. Like this is when you invite any local A&R people you might know, any local radio DJs you might know, any podcasters, any like music journalists, any music supervision people. You get them to come out to your show and you kick their serious ass. Let me say hi to some people here. We got Big Brutus 60. The guy, listen to what Big Brutus is saying. The guy just keeps rambling about nonsense. Do you guys think I'm talking about nonsense? Of course not. Big Brutus, what's your problem? What else do we got? We got, all right, man. We got somebody by the name of Knight. They said they subscribed, and can I get a shout out? Yes, you can. Who else we got? This is Tim from the National Man. You guys are unbelievable. There we go. We got Mark. Don't worry about it, Mark. I know, man. You're always going to get crazy people online that just are talking smack and don't have anything better to do. But I love all you guys, man. Thanks for showing up. And to everybody else, this is Office Hours, and we're talking about live performing and touring. And I'm giving you the goods here, man. This is the goods. So the level 2 phase, hopefully at this point, you're gonna use it to secure some deals. You might get a booking agent. You might get, maybe a music manager that's interested in you. You might get an attorney that wants to work with you. You might get some sync agents that are interested in you. But this is, maybe even an indie level label, or maybe a major label if you want to go that route, The third level of phasing is what I call the traveling phase or the salesperson phase. This is where you actually are now hitting the road to like support a record. You're releasing singles, you've got a record out, and you're going from one town to the next to be able to perform in front of people that can't come all the way out to California or can't come out all the way to like where you live. You know what I mean? So you're going to them. You're like a traveling salesperson, bringing your music directly to the fans. And there's no better way to touch fans than to meet them in person, shake their hands, high five them, and say what's up and make that connection. This is also a time when you figure out how to maximize touring. Should you be traveling in a bus or a van? Should you be staying in 3 hotel rooms or just one? And it's called the day room, like where you just have one room, everyone shares it to go shower, and then you get on the bus and you go to the next city, or you get in the van and go to the next city. This is where you're figuring out how to be efficient on the road, okay? And that's level 3. Level 4, if you pass the level 3 phase, is now what I call the making the money phase. This is where you're going in for the kill, you guys. This is where you're making money, and now if you're smart, you're gonna put on an amazing show every night. You're gonna spend the extra money to like go the extra mile and give the fans what they really want. And you're just gonna bring in that money, and you're going to try to be smart, and you're gonna try to save that money and invest and not do stupid stuff and not let it get to your head. Hopefully, because the last thing you wanna do is have 5 or 6 or 10 good years of a career, and then you bought $1 million homes and cars and stuff, and you just end up losing it all. So smart people are going to invest properly, and that's a whole nother. By the way, I actually wrote a book on personal finance for musicians, if you guys ever want to check it out. But you got to be smart. And, just so that you guys know, Coldplay in 2024 grossed $400 million in touring. So it's big money, but there's also big expenses too. Okay? All right, so now let's talk about where and how to get gigs. Those are the 4 levels of touring. How to get gigs, start off with your local club market, because they have a PA there, they have a doorman there, they have light people there. It's easy to do. You got to deal with some kind of pay-to-play stuff sometimes, but try to avoid those clubs and try to go for clubs that might give you a guarantee or a percentage. We'll talk about that in a minute. You can do what's called gig swapping. So for example, let's just say you're in a frat house at USC and you contact the frat houses in Santa Barbara, right? And what you do is you tell them, say, hey man, we love your band. Can we come up there and maybe play something for you? And then you come down here and we'll host you and you play here for our crowd. And you that way you start to build and expand your audience a little bit. It's called gig swapping. Of course, playing colleges. Hello, right? Colleges, right? Playing colleges. People from all over the world are in colleges. It's a good way to like connect with people that we're trying to. All right, sorry you guys. The camera went out because someone tried to call me, and that's always a drag because it's usually just spam. Somebody trying to sell me cellular panels for my house or something. Let me take a couple real quick questions. Somebody Loopty says you got videos on it, but how does one get internships while in music school, especially in their senior year? So I'm going to pause real quick and answer that question. The best way to do it, obviously, is usually provided by the services of your student representatives, or you usually have a department of people that will kind of point you in the right direction in terms of resources. We have tons of resources here that we use, but also just a lot of times people just get online and they search the job message boards directly at companies they want to work at, like Universal or Warner, and they just look for openings and they submit resumes. I'm going to tell you, some people have to submit up to 100 resumes before they get an offer. A lot of times you can use it through personal connections. I handle a lot of the internships as well. So a lot of times people contact me and they say we have internships. So that's kind of how you do it. All right, let's keep on going with the touring thing. What else are the gigging options? Playing colleges. Keep your eyes open for corporate sponsors. So corporate sponsors are, like Red Bull energy drink and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised because a lot of times they have competitions for local artists. And if you jump on one of those competitions and you win, there's been people like Eric Hutchinson, an independent artist that have traveled across country for Jeep and actually ended up playing on the Jay Leno show. You can also do local sponsorships with local stores and things like that. And literally you could just go up to them and hit them up and say, hey, we're a local band. We're playing at the club tonight. We'll mention your name if you play our music in your store or something of that nature. There's all kinds of sponsorships that you could do that way. Watch for openings on festival tours. One of my colleagues is associated with one of the biggest tours that's rehappening this summer. And he basically says, look, if the promoter is coming through, or the tour, if the festival is coming through your town and you're a happening band in town, it's possible that you can get on one of the side stages. So you got to get out there and start on your own, though. Nobody's coming to save you. You could play industry conventions like the NAMM show and South by Southwest. You could play what's called alternate venues. So you could play things like frat parties, house parties. I even know a band that played haunted houses in Jacksonville, New Jersey. Somebody actually played during September to November. They had a gig at the haunted house, and they would, they were like a thrash band, and they wore masks and stuff. It was so awesome. I know one person that played up at the ski lodge. I'm about 2 hours from Big Bear, and they played at the ski lodge. People are skiing and partying and snowboarding. And then, of course, eventually you'll get a personal manager, and the personal manager will help you find typically a talent agent, and the talent agent gets you gigs, okay? Let's talk really quick about how you're paid, and then I'm out of here, you guys. So here's how you're paid. Number one, you ready for this? Nothing. But always remember that you never get paid nothing, because it's not what you earn, it's what you learn. Just remember that. You're being given an opportunity to play in someone's venue. And if you've ever tried to rent your own venue and rent your own PAs, it is expensive. It is very, very expensive. So if someone's giving you an opportunity to play their club, just play and have a good attitude, okay? Eventually, you might be asked to pay to play in bigger venues. And the reason why is because clubs have rent to pay, and they don't know if you're going to bring anyone in or not. So they give you a chance, and they go, look, sell 100 tickets, give us, $200, and you get on stage and play. If you want to sell them for $4 each, you make, $400, you keep $200 yourself. But, pretty much you don't have to pay to play clubs. You could play the smaller clubs and build up a following, because once the club owners know that you have a following, they're not going to make you pay to play. Then there's also what's called the straight percentage. A straight percentage is when they just say you'll get 10% of the door, or you'll get 100% of the door, or 50% of the door, you'll get 25% of the door after 30 people come in. The splits can be done in so many different ways. Then there's also what's called a flat guarantee. They'll just say you have a flat $200 or a flat $100,000 or a flat, for an indie band, it's probably going to be more like a flat 75 or a flat 125 or a flat 500 or something like that. And that they're giving you that because typically they know they're going to make money in parking, they know they're going to make money in drinks and in food, and they know that you're going to bring in people. You know, that's why they can guarantee you. And then sometimes you have what's called the guarantee versus percentage. This works at the higher levels. They'll give you like a guarantee like $250,000, and then they'll say, and we'll give you 90% of the net. So after all the gross comes in, we'll minus our expenses, right? And if the expenses are greater than 250, if the net is greater than 250, then we'll pay you the net instead, you know? But you're definitely guaranteed the 250. All right? All right, what else do we got to talk about? You might ask, like, how are deals negotiated? It's usually done on what's called the gross potential. And the gross potential is the ticket price times the venue capacity equals the gross potential. Then they subtract expenses and they can figure out what they'll pay you in a guarantee. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk about, you guys, is what's called a rider. A rider is a part of the live performance contract that is stapled to the boilerplate stuff, like your typical stuff, like, you know, the venue and what time you go on and play and stuff like that. And the rider is like the stuff you need to go on stage to play. When you're first starting out, you're lucky if you get a glass of water, but as you become more professional, you can ask for dressing rooms, catering, free tickets, security, you know, all kinds of stuff. And of course, the most famous rider was Van Halen's, where they requested that all the brown M&Ms be taken out. Does anybody know why? Let's see if anybody knows why. Does anyone want to go ahead and give it a shot? Anyone there? You gonna give it a shot? We got Saul. Saul, what's happening? I see you here a lot, so nice to see you again. We got Knight. What's up, Knight? Mark is still in the house, I think. Does anybody know why Van Halen asked them to take the brown M&Ms out? Because this way they know that the people read the contract. When they walk into the dressing room, if they still see that there are brown M&Ms in the bowl, then they know they didn't read the contract. Anyway, you guys, live performing and touring, it's important, it's good to get out there and play live. My name is Bobby Borg, also known as Coach, signing out. Hey, you know, don't forget, like, a lot of this material is covered in my book, Business Basics for Musicians. Let me show you what it looks like. Oh, man. There's a lot of other books out there too, but that one is mine. All right, you guys, so check out the beautiful California weather we got. Woo, nice blue skies. Sorry about the wind. Sorry about the live distractions. Sorry about the person calling me and getting the phone going out. But appreciate you guys. Peace, love, and see ya.